what went wrong with one of my cases. And well, this was a elderly gentleman, diabetic, sustained an anti-MI about a couple of weeks ago, which was thrombolyzed, presented with symptoms at rest in the form of shortness of breath and pain, just vehemently against surgery. No suggestion which is without surgery is acceptable to him. So we discussed that this case might require something like lesion modification with rota, IVL, and also might require hemodynamic support. So that was LV, not a great LV, some mitral leakage seen in the third film. And issue was which one to handle first. I thought RCA first because the lesion was very tight, at least in the mid RCA, and it had only just one bifurcation at the crux. And it might help me in while I am trying to address the left coronary, and certainly it looked easier. But it looked easier, but if you see it carefully, you start finding problems in the beginning, of course, small little problems in the middle, tight lesion, and also a lot of work to be done distally. But this is which was not seen in the referral angiogram was calcium. And this is a pain. In fact, the first balloon for dilatation, which was a new semi-compliant balloon, refused to enter. It required the help of guide extension. So my problem started there. Of course, a stent was delivered, but now I want to take a NC balloon for post-dilatation. Even a new balloon is not going. Again, it requires guide extension, and despite guide extension, this new balloon is not going. So, and I realized that I also have to work distally. So I took an buddy wire. With buddy wire, I am able to take a balloon and do a post-dilatation and even use the same balloon to do the work distally. And of course, at that time, the wire is pulled out. The wire is again pushed back through the stent distally to do the rest of the task, and finally an ostial stent. Nice result, but we lost the PLV. We worked around with initial balloon and final kissing. Some disease there at the os of the PLV, but we accepted it. A lot of metal was already there. Couple of days later, we brought him for the left system, checked the right, which was okay. A PA line for a continuous monitoring of PA pressures. That was the left. If you see it carefully, something at the near origin of the LM, which will be an issue, especially if seating the guide. Long segment disease in circumflex, as well as in the LED. But very important thing is branch. You have a very long first marginal, which I'll have to take care of it, and also a parallel running diagonal. So two bifurcation down in circumflex and LED, and LM bifurcation. So that makes a very high syntax score. And learning from the right, my IVS catheter is not going, guide catheter is backing out. So I straight off went with the rota, and the burr was not going, the guide was backing out. I didn't want a guide support, but finally I had to jet in the guide into the left main where there was a disease, and finally I was able to drill into the LED. Decent flow, no perforation, no dissection, no thrombus, checked in the other view. So now I think I am set to get to circumflex. Took the same rota wire into circumflex and started to work around in circumflex. Now it was a big pain. I was working in circumflex, and despite many attempts, my circ was not getting drilled. And I tried to increase the support by having the guide in, but even that was not working. And finally, my burr got stalled and it got stuck to the wire, and I had to pull it out. Unfortunately, this thing was not saved by the tech. And as soon as I am able to take the burr out, my patient was in a hemodynamic collapse, and that was the angiogram. So that is what I am called here for, as to how to handle. I quickly wired the LED down, and but there is no significant increase in the blood flow, because had there been a major dissection, that should have at least shown some, because now I have a stiff part of the body of the wire there. Something should have improved. It has not really done so. I started to balloon it. My only weapon in such cases is pump in intracoronary adrenaline. I had pumped in 2 ampules of adrenaline into the coronary artery at this point in time. And then I start seeing some decent flow is coming to the LED. But that effect may not last long. Many times you give ADR, and the insult which you have created may be long enough, and the support which you give ADR may not be long enough. So you will have an effect which will wane off rather quickly. So I quickly inserted a long stent from LM to LED just to secure the area which I had drilled. Started to have good look at the LED. Again, I'm continuously pumping in a lot of IC adrenaline. Then I avoid the circumflex, and then I thought just do a part so that my assembly gets easy, but again my patient gets into hemodynamic collapse. In fact, this is not a total arrest, but he was having a bradycardia and significant hypotension. So at this time, while you're supporting, you try to check in between by interrupting your cardiac massage, especially if you are seeing the pressures coming up, and see what is the flow. Flow looks better, but not enough to stop the cardiac massage, so that is massage is continued. And now I see that the whole coronary circulation is filling well, but central aortic pressure probably is not very good. So ADR boluses are continuing and CPR is also continuing. Rhythm and pressure recover somewhat, but you are still requiring frequent IC ADR. And the flow is better. One important thing is that you should always kick the guiding out, which I am doing here. The guide should be only if you are doing something. Made a way towards circumflex with a balloon. Now I crossed the distal tight region of the circumflex with an anchor balloon in the LED and ballooned it. Mind it, I could not cross with a burr. Now I am able to cross with the balloon. It is something like a half rota. And not only cross, even dilate. Mind it, guide is kicked out while you are thinking. Should never be in a situation like this. That's what is, in fact, even after injection, immediately after injection, your guide should be out. Because guide intubation creates something like an acute 70-80% stenosis. There was something down in the circumflex which was fixed. The intention was not to put the stent from the circos. The reason was there was a big OM which already had a disease. If I insert a stent there, then my problem will be complicated. My OM may go off. Then I did a fine kissing, still flaring with the high pressures, and final part at Coronary at low pressures. And took my IVUS down, which showed that distal to the stent things are okay. Distal end of the stent is fine. Well, somewhere proximally the stent is somewhat underexpanded. Nice looking carina with circos and nice looking LMS. So tried to optimize that area which was not looking very healthy, and then did final this, and this is what it was. Check the RCA, because sometime while you are dressing left, there may be some troubleshooting by the RCA. RCA was fine. And this was the LV about a week later, and the patient is home. This is the story is about 1.5 months old, and the patient is doing fine. His symptoms have totally disappeared. Let me just talk about stupidities. I shouldn't have done this case. Well, we have been doing such cases successfully, not one, hundreds of such cases we have done. I shouldn't have done that case with a 1.5 rota bar. I think could have done with a 1 to 5 bar and followed by an IBL, but long segment disease, how many IBLs? Should have stented left main or left main to LED, so that my guide can sit and not create problems for me in the form of stunning of the myocardium because of low flow. Or should have done the circumflex first, and maybe circumflex could have been addressed with the help of AL guide, which would have given me much better support, so because I got stuck in the circumflex. Should have done LED and LCX in different sittings. Should have used new bar and new burrs for circumflex. And should have done with hemodynamic support with IBP, Impella or ECMO. I think these are the questions which will be in the mind of most of us. I may be labeled stupid in doing one of them, but this is what it was. I think I'll fail in my duty before I thank you all for listening to me patiently if I don't thank the support staff in the cath lab and the ICU. Thank you very much.